Bowl season is here. Are you ready to cash in on what you know? Where you play is as important as what you play. The pros play at mybookie.ag. All the lines, odds, and plays, both college and pro, all at mybookie.ag. Play where you get paid super fast and there's never a hassle. Step up and mybookie.ag will match your deposit with up to a 50% bonus. Use promo code JJ50 to activate the offer. Don't leave the money on the table. mybookie.ag, promo code JJ50, and your first deposit is matched up to 50%. Play where the pros play because they get paid. mybookie.ag.
And now, Jalen and Jacoby on ESPN Radio.
When I pop the trunk, head to death. Y'all pop the trunk, I pop the hood.
Now act stupid, I'll pop the trunk. Now give me your boom.
She is Jalen Rose.
Hello.
I'm David Jacoby. And we are Jalen and Jacoby.
Woo!
On ESPN Radio. What do we do, Michelle?
What do they want?
In for Jalen Rose is Michelle Beadle. Jalen Rose is helping educate the children of Detroit. He's at the Jalen Rose Leadership Academy, just helping his community.
Just being a better person.
You know?
Yep.
I thought he had a much worse excuse for not being here today. I can't lie.
Can't even make fun of him.
We have no radio show today because of the MLB playoffs, so we have television only, but we will never just give you 21 minutes of mediocrity. We will record exclusive content for the podcast so you get more mediocrity.
That's what I'm talking about.
We say we give the people that we want what they want here, Michelle. So what we do is we open up our voicemail lines. If you call 985-80-JALEN, you can leave us voicemails. If you do that, we'll play them on the show just like this.
Shout out Adam, Carlos. Shout out Reg. Shout out Beads. Shout out Obi-Wan Jacoby. Shout out Q, the future leader of the Chaos Clique. Hey, this is Rick, a teacher in Oxnard, California. Question. I had this conversation with some students. If you have a Murph to pick, do you pick it in front of public? You try to sneak a quick pick? Do you go to the restroom and pick it out? Or do you try to wiggle it out when you're walking or on the dance floor? Let me know. I was a fan of the wiggle or going to the restroom.
First of all,
shout out.
Shout out.
I love that Rick is a teacher.
Me too.
He's a teacher, and he's like, I was having a conversation with some students. Like, Rick!
I like that
this
conversation.
This is supposed to be math class,
Wait,
Rick.
Can I say, though, that's real life stuff he's talking about. You know,
good point, yeah.
Think about it. You get to college, you didn't know how to do anything.
The quadratic equation doesn't matter. Do you know what does matter? How do you get a Murph out?
Thank you.
And we have to, full disclosure, we're very clear here on Jalen and Jacoby. When he said a Murph to pick, you looked at me like,
yeah.
Huh?
I was like, I gotta go because I don't know what that means.
Yeah, I believe it's a wedgie.
I have wedgies. I never knew it was a Murph.
So I actually got an answer to this question. I don't want to be too. You know exactly what I don't want to be.
It's just underwear. Let it go.
What I'm saying is the best thing to do here is to pick it, but with a motion that makes it seem like you're doing something else. You're like, I'm just checking my back pocket while I twist this way. You try to make it seem like when you want to look to the person to your left side, you're like, I just have to scratch my neck over here or whatever.
The problem is, because coming from a female perspective, you could be wearing all kinds of different underwear, different pants, skirt, whatever. So there are going to be different strategies you employ depending on what you're currently doing. But I'm a big fan of just, you only live once, just get rid of the uncomfortable.
Yeah. Well, you just got to own it. That's kind of your personality. Be like, I've got a Murph. Here we go.
Oh, no. And
gotta get it.
It's happening.
Thank you for educating the children of Oxnard.
Actually, yes.
That will no longer
Shout
be a
out, Rick.
problem in Oxnard. Rick, if you continue with this type of educational environment, Oxnard will be free of people that are obviously taking Murphs.
Yep.
Good for you.
Murphs.
We have some questions from Twitter. We open up our Twitter feed.
Why would you do that?
This is from Finger Roll Jones. We've put him on the show a lot, and I love his name, Finger Roll Jones. But I've noticed that his Twitter avatar went from a picture of him, so now he's got his own logo, kind of like LeBron or like J.J. Watt. Finger Roll Jones is going to be running ESPN in like 13 years.
Fair enough.
Shout out to Finger Roll Jones. His question is very, it's pretty clear. Why are the Spurs so basic? Will they ever be exciting?
You know what's exciting, Finger Roll Jones? 5 banners of good-looking stuff up in
Is
those
it, though?
Raptors. Yeah, it is.
Is it, though?
I'm sorry that people that like great, fundamental basketball played by decent dudes, that you don't have to worry about them embarrassing you or saying something stupid.
I don't like any of that.
Except for that one time with the thing.
Yeah.
But other than that...
when the one guy had a wife and yeah.
That wasn't great.
Yeah.
No, look, I get it. They don't have. Well, actually, I would argue. I would say I think there are going to be some more things because we've seen flashes of the kids, and they're bringing sort of a new kind of vibe to things. It might be a little more exciting.
DeJounte Murray. I don't really know how to say his name. DeJounte Murray. Am I right there?
DeJounte.
DeJounte.
Yeah.
Okay.
Close
I
enough.
do like him.
Yeah, I do too. I'm telling you, could be a little change there. Fingerwolf Jones.
Shout out.
What? I don't like that face at all.
No, I'm not going to ask certain
Oh
ones.
God! Just what is it?
Says, what's your favorite ESPN show to guest host? Don't hold back, Beads.
Just this one. I've only guest
just say
hosted this
Jalen
one.
and Jacoby.
Well, this one
there
is.
you go. Boom.
You know, because I don't say yes to anything else, Jalen. I say no to a lot. Did I just call?
Yes, you did.
Why do I do that every time?
Every time.
Do you know what?
Do you know what?
Every time.
I was insulted like 10% that you did it, but you seem so bothered by it that you actually took a win. Like you seem like you accidentally stabbed me in the stomach with like a machete. You know what I mean? But like the look on your face, like I cannot believe I did that.
Let me.
I don't even know my own children's names, Beads.
No, Jalen and Jacoby together, I think, is so set in the American psyche that it just comes out immediately.
This is great. You totally made up for it.
Yep, you're welcome.
Totally made up for it. Totally made up for it. If you call 985-80 Jalen, you can leave us a voicemail, and we'll play it on the show just like this.
Hey, so I'm really excited to ask this question with Michelle Beadle there. I'm a huge fan of hers and, of course, of the show. This is about the Spurs. I know, Michelle, you're a big Spurs fan. I am too. Bryn Forbes scored 20 points in 17 minutes last night. He looked good shooting from beyond the arc. Do you think he can be a legitimate factor off the bench for San Antonio this season? That's my question. I know it's a serious one. So that's it. Bye.
That was a serious one.
So here's the thing.
Wait, what are you doing?
No, I'll tell you what. I'm looking up to make sure that Glenn Forbes is a real person on the Spurs.
Bryn Forbes.
Oh, Bryn Forbes.
Get out of here.
I'd never heard of Glenn Forbes. And I was just like,
Glenn Forbes is my neighbor.
I thought it was going to be like one of those like Jimmy Kimmel bits where like me and you do 10 minutes on Glenn Forbes and we're completely exposed.
We could.
Yes.
I actually,
Bryn Forbes, I'm familiar with. Glenn Forbes, less familiar with.
One of the kids. And I think, and there was the game last year, like I feel like these are the kids that are going to get more play.
I know you keep calling them kids, but that's literally because the older players on the team are old enough to be their fathers.
They're the kids.
Like,
let me have that.
Bryn Forbes could be.
How old is Bryn Forbes? 22.
Oh, I'll look it up right now.
I'm guessing 22.
I will look. Well, it should be easier to find out than this.
If he's not 22.
Oh, he was born in 1993. Doing some math, he's 24.
24. All right.
Yeah, he could definitely be.
Definitely be my child.
He could definitely be. Manu Ginobili's 40. Manu Ginobili is 40.
He could be all
He does kind of look like you and Manu Ginobili.
Well, let's not spread that rumor.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Maybe I do have a kid. I don't know.
Thank you so much for the call. I'm glad you weren't asking about Glenn Forbes because I have no idea who that is. I really thought that we were just trying to get the okie doke. Like that was someone from Deadspin. If Deadspin still cared about us.
Trying to bust us.
Yeah, exactly. But this is no longer 2004.
No, we're friends now, I think.
Are we?
I don't know. We hate everybody.
Yeah.
As they hate us.
That's just you. This is from Here's Johnny.
Wow.
Lots of NFL players wear gold chains during games.
Yes.
Should every sport allow chains, and what rules should they put around it, i.e. no snatching? Great question. Great question from Johnny.
I noticed it yesterday.
I noticed it as well. Some thicker than others. I have a lot of questions.
Yeah, a lot of them thicker than others.
Number one. I'm not really a gold chain guy.
No, me neither.
But there was a period, right?
Really?
So yeah, of course. I got it on Canal Street. I swear it was gold.
Shout out Canal Street.
I swear it was gold. But I imagine under the shoulder pads, if you get hit and then you get the impression of the gold chain, like I feel like when you take your shoulder pads off after the game, you're full of these little kind of like scars.
Yeah, of course.
Around your clavicle.
Yeah, it's just gone into your skin. And I don't understand why. That's the thing. It's like, it's not like you can't just put the chain somewhere in your locker room and put it right back on when you're done. It's up there with long hair, though, because I've always thought long hair on a football player would be a detriment, because if I'm an opposing player, I am going to grab for these things every time.
There's that and the helmet.
Yeah.
Like, imagine you've got like big, huge, long dreadlocks, and you put in the helmet on. I feel like you have to go to the trainer and be like, I know my head is this size, but I need 2 sizes bigger because my hair.
LZ tries to put a helmet on once a week with his cut hair, and it's like, it's not going anywhere. It's got to hurt. It's got to like make everything much tighter, pressure filled.
I feel like that's a problem.
It's a good question.
Here's one of the things I love in sports is the Miami University turnover chain that they have.
That thing is ridiculous.
It really, and we've done this on the show before, but I feel like this needs to be adopted by all sports.
It's like a flashback to the 80s.
It's so good. I think there should, you know what, they should do on Sports Nation. Like, if you really crush a segment, you should get like some sort of throne. Yeah. Wow. You know what I mean? Or you should.
How awkward for everyone else.
You should get some sort of thing. I feel like instead, there's not, in professional worlds, not just sports, there's not enough like incentive-based prizes.
You know what? Because here's the thing: we all take our paychecks for granted. We're like, well, every 2 weeks something happens, and there's a direct
automatic
deposit.
Direct deposit, and they take it out.
But you know what? And we all have attention span problems. So how about if you dangle like some candy in front of us, and we'll try harder?
Yes.
No, I don't hate this.
Employee of the month, like they do this a lot for sales jobs, but I feel like every single job that managers should incentivize their employees with
like a
stupid
gift certificate
little gifts.
to dinner.
Yes.
Like, hey, you had a great week. Here you go.
We
should do that. We should actually do it with like everyone here. You know what? Let's start that tomorrow.
I'm going to write an email. Never o'clock. Right around never o'clock, I'm going to start that email.
You're going to get an email from me. Company-wide tonight.
Nope. Let's listen to another voicemail.
Hey, Jalen, Jacoby. This is Angie calling from Houston. So the other day, Dwayne Wade compared he and King James' relationship to peanut butter and jelly. And last year, he even admitted that he would choose LeBron over his own wife to place his food order at a restaurant. So this is a question for Jalen. When you were in college or the NBA, were you ever so tight with a teammate that it caused a little bit of animosity either on or off the court? Shout out to Reg.
Let's answer for Jalen.
Yeah, Jalen, what do you think?
No, I never liked anyone on my team that much.
Yeah, that it caused animosity too.
Well, it could if you have, a significant other and they're getting a little jealous about all the time you spend. I mean, it was the food thing. I don't know. How long has he been with Gabrielle Union versus LeBron? Could very well be an easy. Logical.
Yeah, it's also like with Jalen, it's easy. Just like, he eats lobster.
He really does eat lobster and popcorn.
So it's like lobster and popcorn. Like, it's not that hard. Like, anyone in Jalen's life will be like, yeah, lobster and popcorn.
Like, I know
He's made this very clear. yeah, lobster and popcorn.
The occasional sweet, and then you're good to go.
There you go.
Yeah.
We have one more very important question from our co-producer, Matthias.
Oh.
Shout out.
How do you want your yolk on a fried egg?
Oh, you mean like meat? Like
how would you order your eggs? I believe is the question.
I eat eggs every single day.
Really?
Yes.
Make them yourself?
Yep. Every single morning I have.
How many eggs?
2. Depends. Am I having avocado
I'm a 3-egg
with it?
guy.
I do 3 if I don't have avocado. If I have avocado, I do 2.
I'm more fascinated with this topic than anything else that we're going to discuss today.
I have my breakfast. I can make my entire breakfast.
So you're
in
a
less
routine
than like 5
person.
minutes.
Same thing every day.
I work out. I make my breakfast.
I have a very.
I'm
a routine person.
I do some fiber bread because I'm getting old.
Okay.
I toast it. While I'm toasting that, I throw the eggs on there. Cut up the avocado. Smash it all together. Hot sauce, chili pepper. Doom. Done. It's delicious.
You cut up the bread?
Sunny side up.
You put it on top of the bread.
I put it on top of the bread. It's like a mushy mess.
I can show you. I'll show you a picture. Use the bread as a utensil?
Basically. No, I just cut it. It's like a mashed pit by then.
Oh, nice. So you didn't answer the question, though. How are you cooking the eggs?
Sunny side up 9 times out of 10.
Sunny
Scrambled when
up.
I'm feeling it.
So you don't flip them over?
No.
Because you're afraid you're going to break the yolk?
Yeah, I don't want to break the yolk because I want it to make the bread juicy.
Flipping over an egg, it gives me more anxiety than it should.
I mean, because
it gives me more anxiety than it should. It really gives me more anxiety. When I do it right, when I nail a couple fried eggs, I feel really good about myself. But a lot of time I flip them over, I break the yolk, and I feel like I've just wasted an egg in my time.
I do. Sometimes I flip it over inadvertently, and then I'm like, oh, that felt good because it doesn't break, and you're like, oh, I
could do that every day.
I don't cook at all, really. I mean, that's like one. And every time I do it, I'm like, I fool myself into thinking I could open a restaurant and just make this.
I like that. I never cook, but when I flip over an egg, I feel like I should open up a restaurant. That's the sort of irrational confidence that you need to have to get ahead in this world.
I am cocky.
That's how it works. That's exactly how it works. You're going to get like exact change at a cashier and be like, I should be a statistician.
Oh, yeah. I knew that before you gave it to me.
Yeah, exactly.
There you go.
Let's give the people what they want.
Oh.
Bowl season is here. Are you ready to cash in on what you know? Where you play is as important as what you play. The pros play at mybookie.ag. All the lines, odds, and plays, both college and pro, all at mybookie.ag. Play where you get paid super fast and there's never a hassle. Step up and mybookie.ag will match your deposit with up to a 50% bonus. Use promo code JJ50 to activate the offer. Don't leave the money on the table. mybookie.ag, promo code JJ50 pay $50 and your first deposit is matched up to 50%. Play where the pros play because they get paid. MyBookie.ag.
You ready to get started?
Yes, I'm going to be very serious.
There are serious things to discuss today.
Yes.
But here's the thing. We don't want to discuss those things. On this show, we talk about what we want to talk about. Do you know what I want to talk about? Russell Westbrook's T-shirt.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Allow me to explain. Mm-hmm. Do you remember when Kevin Durant was posing as someone who wasn't Kevin Durant so he could defend Kevin Durant on social media sites?
Great moment.
It was barely months. And one of those times in which he was defending himself when he was not being himself, he wrote the following. Imagine taking Russ off that team. See how bad they were? KD can't win a championship with those cats. Well, Russell Westbrook has responded in the most Russell Westbrook way by wearing a T-shirt. That T-shirt says on it, adopt a cat.
Let me see. Oh my God. He's the best.
I call this competitiveness. Because it's competitive and petty. I've been trying to make that word happen for months now.
Yeah, and he's the best at it.
And he is the most competitive player in the National Basketball Association. How much do you love this?
So, full disclosure, I'm Italian. I am a Scorpio, and I never forget things.
That seems like three very unrelated traits.
No.
Okay.
You would think so.
Okay.
But Scorpios, and I'm not even an astrology person, but they tend to be fiery, and Italians tend to be sort of fiery and vengeful. And I feel like I'm probably those things. Not actively. I'm never going to be as good as he is. The fact that he continues to sort of outdo himself as a professional troll, and he's so likable that he's the perfect combination. Nothing's going to beat the idea that you signed the single greatest NBA contract in history.
Largest.
On Kevin Durant's birthday.
Remember the photographer's vest?
Yes, it's so
and the
good.
cupcake thing?
Yes.
Like, one of the things that makes me think is, like, he's probably taking shots at ex-girlfriends and like old high school coaches and teachers that failed him. We just don't know what the references are, but I feel like he's always insulting 15 people every time he does anything.
Like, I made this shirt that says "Bless Your Heart" because the only time I say it is when I really think you're a moron and I'm condescending to you.
So you are now disrespecting every single person that sees you, but you don't know.
No, only if they know who they are. You know who you is.
He signed the extension on Kevin Durant's birthday because he probably agreed to those terms.
Oh God, yeah.
10 days earlier, but he was like, you know what, guys, we're not going to announce this.
I have this idea. I'm really feeling like we should announce it. I think it was the 26th, whatever it was, 29th, whatever it was. Just like let's hold off on the news for a couple days. Bam.
I loved it.
Professional.
He's so competitive. Here's the thing. This is one of the reasons that I love the National Basketball Association. Like, these interpersonal, super petty, dramatic, like, you read way too much into its little storylines are the reasons I love this sport more than the other sports. Do you agree?
I agree with you. And we can see everybody as they're doing it.
Mm-hmm.
We can watch them do it all on social media.
Recognize them when they walk in the room.
You can recognize them, and there aren't as many of them as there are across the other sports. So it's just an easier focal point for us because we all have like attention span problems. But yeah, as a girl and a woman, I always thought we always got the reputation of like drama queen, and you guys are always girls can't be friends and whatever. It's all garbage. However, it's fun to sort of watch now because, like, man, boys and men are ridiculous sometimes, thankfully, because it gives us, like, you and I don't always want to be serious about all this stuff. This stuff gives us something to talk about that's actually fun and lighthearted, and I like it.
I could care less who wins the game between the Cavs and the Celtics on the 17th. It's like the first game of the season. I could care less.
Yeah, that's not the story.
I don't care who wins the games. I just want to see LeBron James and Kyrie Irving interact, whether physically or verbally or whatever happens. What the storyline is not going to be, well, the Cavs won by 15. They did a really good job working Kevin Love into the starting rotation at the 5. That's not what it's going to be. It's going to be, did you see that one time when LeBron James blocked Kyrie Irving's shot and then he stared at him?
They're going to be ISO shots on both of them the entirety of the game, which there better be. And I think is that a TNT? Yeah, they got the first one, right? Yeah. So it's just going to be, I love it. Because I'm not a stats nerd. I like stories. I like human nature. I like watching all that. And this has just been great.
I noticed on social media you went to the Rams game.
I did.
Rams, Seahawks at the Coliseum.
Yeah.
Tell me about the experience.
Felt very American. You know what? I have not really been paying attention to a ton of football this season. I've sort of, I think like a lot of people for all different reasons, just about the whole thing. But I was offered these amazing tickets, so I was like, all right, I'm going to take my girlfriends, we're going to go. And it was fun. I mean, it was hot as hell. And I don't know.
So you're offered really good seats.
Yeah, they were good seats.
So why did you try to steal someone else's seats?
Okay,
someone on our staff said that you stole the seats of other people. Have you ever been to like an event and you see you see someone sitting in your seat and you look at your ticket and you're like, I don't want to engage with them until I know that I am 100% positive that they are stealing my seat. And that person did that, and like there it's Michelle Beadle sitting in their seat.
Here's what happened. The seat read Tunnel 7, Row 5, seats 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. We went through Tunnel 7. We went to what I thought were my seats. And I asked the 4 people sitting in those seats, I said, hey, I think these are mine. I showed them my ticket.
Oh, you did that?
Yes. And they said, no, we think you're one section over. So they basically they either did it knowingly, which was good on them because they got me, or they didn't, which is an honest mistake. So we go, okay, so we move one section over. Exact same 4 seats, one section over, which technically were worse seats because mine were on the 50. And now I moved over. And I'm a little asymmetrical at this point. Halfway through the third quarter, by the way, who shows up in the halfway through the third? A couple comes up and says, we think you're in our seats. So now I'm like, I'm going to alpha them because I don't know anybody. Through the third, which I'm already irritated. I'm like, really?
Yeah.
So I take my ticket out and I say, no, I think this is ours. I'm pretty sure you're one section over. So we're just continuing. Not an usher, anyone to be seen. We can't ask anybody because no one knows. And then I sit there and now it's bothering me because I can't get it on my head.
You're really blaming like everybody else in this scenario. You've blamed 5 other people so far.
So I finally asked the person in front of me and I'm like, hey, what section? And sure enough, we were in the wrong. We were supposed to be in the better seats that were to the left. The problem is, like, what does that mean? Tunnel 7, Row 5, 1, 2, 3, 4. Tunnel 7 is here, and then they spread out on 2 ways. So there's L, and it's a mess. They just need to have a couple people like that know what's going on, because we're all on our own out there.
Even weirder than the seat stealing thing.
Yeah.
Also heard.
Where are you getting this information?
You know exactly where I'm getting this information. One of our producers was with you.
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
Right.
Allison?
I heard you were sober.
Oh yeah.
The entire time at a football game on a Sunday.
Yeah.
Don't you know how this works?
Yeah, I know how it works. I drove, okay? Number one, I'm a responsible American
Now I'm the bad person.
No, we drank the night before, and I just didn't feel great.
There it is. Yeah. We've all been there. I thought
I would snap out of it, but I never did.
You are not Jalen Rose, so I finally get to talk about Game of Thrones very quickly. We have news that they're now going to film like 7,000 different endings so they can keep it all under wraps and no one can ruin the story. What do you think will be the ending of this program?
First of all, what's it like to have that kind of a budget that you can just film a bunch of endings?
Yes.
Good for you. I don't know. I really
Can I pitch
don't
you
know.
mine?
Yeah, please.
Iron Throne is empty. Just a shot of the Iron Throne. And then in walks the Night's King.
Shut up.
Sits down
no way.
on the Iron Throne.
So the bad guy wins.
Yes.
I don't hate it. It's certainly better than because it's either what
and
John.
Then do you know what the Night's King says? He goes, "I'm Italian. I'm a Scorpio, and I don't forget things."
Then I'm back on.
Clearly, in response to backlash of sexist comments he made earlier in the week, Cam Newton wore a ridiculous hat, and on his ridiculous hat, he had a pin that had Rosie the Riveter on it. Clearly, some sort of like olive branch reach out message thing he was doing, being like, I'm not sexist, look, I put Rosie the Riveter on my hat. Does that change the way you feel about Cam Newton?
Well, okay, so I never this didn't get me in too big of an outrage, I'll be honest with you. I don't know if it's my old age or my anger at a lot of other things in the world these days, but I just couldn't find it in myself to get completely out of control mad about what he did. Because I accepted his apology as far as like, oh, that's cool, whatever, we're good. I think there are a lot of people that think the way he does, that's the bigger issue.
Yes.
Not that he said those words, as you saw by the outpouring of responses. So yeah, I'm sure somebody in his camp thought this would be a good idea, or just sort of like a nod to feminism everywhere. It's not great.
I saw the headline. It was actually like a notification on my phone, like, Cam Newton wears Rosie the Riveter pin, and I went to look at the picture. I was like, wait a second, he put it on the side of his hat,
it's
like
big,
under
too.
the brim. It was just kind of, I felt if it was a little bit more prominent placement, would have been nice.
Did they ask him about it, or did it just that was it?
We don't have any good sound
I didn't know
from
if he
it.
answered.
So, like, if they did ask him about it, I'm sure he didn't say anything interesting. But one thing he did say, which I found just a little like, that's interesting. He said when he made that remark, he was attempting to give the reporter a compliment.
Right.
How do you think he rationalizes that?
I think very easily. And so here's where I try to want to have a discussion with people. And this is why I don't understand why we can't just sort of all shut up and listen a little bit better to each other. Because whereas somebody might say he was trying to give her a compliment, I don't doubt for 1 minute that some people think he was trying to do that.
He said it himself.
Right. And so that's where the problem lies. I can spot a person who's just outright sexist from a mile away. They don't hide who they are. They're not shamed about it, whatever. And so that's a much easier thing to do. How we get to the place we're in right now, whether it be racism, sexism, what have you, are these sort of sneaky, insidious remarks that just become part of our psyches.
Unconscious bias.
Right. And
yes.
you don't realize that what you're saying is inherently sexist. And so it just becomes the norm. And then you have the sort of the reaction that we saw a lot of people have, like, oh, it's not a big deal. It's not, because what you don't realize is that fundamentally what's being said is a sexist comment. And I don't know how we fix that. I think that's why everyone's so amped up.
The fact that he feels comfortable saying it into a
Right.
microphone
That's
is
how you know.
indicative that he didn't think it was a big deal, because it is sort of like an unconscious bias, not like a flat out,
Right.
in your face
Right.
feeling that he has.
Yeah, and people got mad because I was like, hey, white dudes, just shut up and listen for 5 minutes. And I mean that 100%, because 9 times out of 10, when it comes to these matters of whether it be sexism or racism or everything that's going on right now, the most vocal that I see and hear is a very specific demographic. And I'm not telling you, hey, do this. I'm asking you, just listen, just shut up and listen. Because just like I don't know what the perspective and walking in the shoes of a 35-year-old white dude is like in this country, you don't know what walking in my shoes or walking in Cam's shoes or whoever's shoes. You don't. Just, is there any harm in it? People acted like I basically told everyone to go kill themselves. I was like, no, I'm asking us to listen.
Listen.
Maybe we'll have a talk. Not everyone's equipped to have that conversation. I get that. But some of us are.
And we here are ready to have that conversation
Oh!
with Jalen Jacoby.
Oh, this
More
got
importantly,
serious.
it's time for Negative Jacoby.
Oh, God. Okay.
Here's the thing. Jalen is a very positive person. He's loving, he's nice, he's jovial, he's happy.
Yes.
I've got a little bit of negativity at my core. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And sometimes it's not always just unicorns and flowers and rainbows over here. And today, I'm focusing my hate laser on your San Antonio Spurs.
Why?
Because you're here.
Well, that's rude.
And because
Okay.
I don't think they're going to be very good this year.
Fair enough. Okay. Based on, go ahead.
The latest is that Rudy Gay, who just got there, by the way, has played 0 games for the team. Rudy Gay is like, you're going to see the old LaMarcus Aldridge this year.
Great.
He's going to be great. Popovich is having meetings with LaMarcus Aldridge. Why is LaMarcus Aldridge being spoken about like this sensitive, broken man that needs to be pieced together by his teammates?
So I'm not the biggest LaMarcus Aldridge fan.
Okay.
This is
You're not
fan
alone.
Beadle.
You're not alone.
Not Countdown Beadle.
I can't imagine what would make you feel that way. Oh, that's right. All of his terrible playoff performances for your franchise.
So my issue with LaMarcus Aldridge is sort of, okay, so you were the focal point in Portland. You were like the man, and you didn't like it, and it wasn't working for you, right? These are according to his life and the choices he's made. We've seen all that. Now you're in San Antonio, arguably one of the best franchises in the history of the NBA. It's a good place to be. No state tax. Yeah, shout out. And you have the best coach who's there, who's ready and willing to help you become better. And then we got all these grumblings during the playoffs last year that he wasn't happy there and that the system wasn't working for him and he didn't know where he was supposed to be. And then you would watch him and Gasol for that matter. And it was like they were allergic to the basketball and it was frustrating to watch. And then you hear about these talks. I don't get it. If you can't work in Portland and you can't make it work in San Antonio, I'm starting to think...
Might be a you problem. Might be a you problem.
It's probably you.
And it's like, oh, you know what? I'm not happy here. It's like, do you know who else isn't happy? All of the Spurs fans and all of the Spurs organization, because you just got 6 points and 4 rebounds in 35 minutes. So, no one's happy here. But let me just give you some stats about your team. LaMarcus, he's 32.
Okay, I'd love to be 32.
Rudy Gay kind of looks like he's 38, but he's 31.
How dare you?
And then you've got Tony Parker, 35.
Fair enough.
Pau Gasol, 37.
Yeah.
Manu Ginobili is 40 years old.
Yeah.
And everybody talks about how Pop rests all of his players. I'm starting to think he rests his players so much because they need naps because they're middle-aged.
You know what, dude? First of all, I love a nap. All right?
I
just throw
I
that
wish
out
I was a better napper.
I wish I could
to
take
be
a nap
honest.
every single
Yes.
day. Look, I'm not... I wish I could sit here and yell at you and argue with you, but given the offseason that we just watched and the sort of transactions that happened and where everybody ended up, especially in the West. I know. Yes, I'm with you. I'm curious to see how this all plays out because they didn't do much.
Go well.
But then I don't want to see Pop go out. Like, that's the thing, is I have so much respect and trust in what Pop and R.C. Buford do in San Antonio that there will always be this part of me, no matter how bad things look on paper.
It's like this Brady Belichick thing. Like, oh, they've got Brady Belichick.
They'll figure it out.
Oh, yeah, they've got Pop and Kawhi. Like, they got Pop and Kawhi.
So
they're going to be third in the West. It's like I think all they have is Pop and Kawhi, like some old dudes.
Yeah, but they'll figure it out. Just put some stuff together. Boom, 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 boom. Western Conference champions. Let's do this.
You heard it here on Jalen and Jacoby. Put some stuff together. Boom, doom, 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 doom. Western Conference champions.
That's how good Pop is.
This is called Keep It Moving. Ready?
Yes.
There's a lot that goes on in the sports world and the pop culture world, but not all of it is worth discussing. So if you would like to talk about it, you say hit the brakes. I push this button. If you don't want to talk about it, you say keep it moving.
Got it.
And Method Man keeps us moving. We paid a lot of money for that. Jerry Jones said that his players will...
Like I'm playing a game.
Jeff Green says the Cavs are a no-brainer to win the championship.
Keep it moving.
LeVar Ball...
No, keep it moving.
This is great. In Austria, there's an electronics store called McShark, and someone got arrested
Hit the brakes.
while advertising the store.
Yes.
A man dressed as a shark has been fined under the new anti-burqa laws in Australia. The shark was advertising the opening of a new electronics store called McShark. I don't speak Australian, but I don't think that McShark translates... Austrian. I don't speak Australian either, okay? I don't. Oh, I'm stupid now. I'm stupid now.
You're not smart. I can say that.
I don't speak whatever they speak in Austria, but I'm pretty sure that McShark doesn't translate to high-quality electronics here.
I don't know that. It might.
What do you think the brainstorming meeting was when they're like, guys, anybody got a name for this electronics store? It's just quiet for a while. And someone's like, McShark.
What if that's somebody's name? I mean, I hope it is. I wish it was mine.
I'm changing my name. You are listening
whoever
to
changes it first.
Jalen and McShark.
Michelle
Next,
McShark. Oh,
Vice President Mike Pence left the 49ers Colts game on Sunday. Everybody in the NFL got injured yesterday.
I mean, what are we supposed to say about that?
Keep it moving.
Keep it moving.
In related news,
okay.
Terrell Owens says he's still trying to get a spot on an NFL roster.
Hit the brakes.
So that sounds crazy.
Yeah.
But him and Ocho Cinco actually reached out to the Giants. The Giants, they lost Brandon Marshall, they lost Sterling Sharp, they lost Odell Beckham Jr. They had 4 strong receivers, and they all got injured. At this point, you do have to start considering other alternatives. Non-traditional alternatives, like a reality show about Terrell Owens and
Well, I mean,
Ocho
they're
Cinco.
still in shape, right? I mean, you see, I've seen
I think Terrell Owens will always be in shape.
Yeah, so what are your options? You could give it a shot. Worst case scenario.
What could go wrong?
They're lousy.
They should do some sort of open tryout gimmick.
I mean, why wouldn't you? Like, yeah, do it.
McDonald's has apologized.
I'm listening.
To McShark.
Hit those brakes.
No, just kidding. McDonald's has apologized to Rick and Morty fans.
Yes! I love this show. Hit the brakes.
They tried to re-release the Szechuan sauce that was featured in the very funny but very weird animated series, and they didn't send out enough Szechuan sauce.
They didn't know.
So they're apologizing, and they plan on re-releasing it. This is all just a way for you to talk about Rick and Morty because we know you love Rick and Morty.
I love Rick and Morty so much.
Explain Rick and Morty in 10 seconds. Explain the plot to Rick and Morty.
Rick and Morty is about a genius scientist grandfather who has a child named Morty who also speaks weird like he does, and they're in parallel universes, and he can fix and do anything, but he's also an awful human being that we can all relate to. And also family things happen. But that being said, I think that if you got some of the Szechuan sauce, then that was a collector's item and you shouldn't give them more. And also, what a weird pairing between McDonald's, which is like America, and Rick and Morty, which not everyone watches. Good for them.
Thanks so much. Not just for that, but for coming here and replacing Jalen Rose.
Love you, Jalen.
I think you're all right, Jalen.